For those of you who don't know me, my name is Vanessa Knisley, and I love to read books and review them. Today I'm going to be giving you my first impressions of More Than Words by Judith Miller. But before we do that, I do have an announcement to make. I not only read books, but I do also write them. I don't talk about it a whole lot. I think I'm probably going to start a little bit more, and the reason I do it now is because I just released on Amazon the fourth in my Walk With Me saga. It's a 5-series set with the 5th one still in the works. But anyway, here is the 4th one. It is called Take Me Furthermore. I've had people waiting for this. I've had people calling me up. Well, I guess messaging me on Facebook. When is it done? So I love that, and I wanted to let everyone know that it is done and it is on Amazon. If you've not heard of this series, if you didn't know to be excited about it, I just wanted to show you the rest of them. This is Beneath Outstretched Arms, the first one. A Little While Longer, the second. And the third, Familiar Souls. And again, here's Take Me Furthermore. It is a medieval story of love and friendship. Definitely faith mixed in there. I am a Christian author, so very clean, very faith-based, faith-filled, but a great story. Check those out if you're interested in those and you want to be updated on my writing and or what books I'm going to be reading next, and recommendations, those books I love, those books I didn't, then go ahead and ring the bell and press the notification thing and give it a thumbs up and do all those things that really help this channel get off the ground. I appreciate it so much. Now let's get to More Than Words. First off, I'm going to introduce you to the characters. The first one's name is Gretchen. She's the main character. I didn't write it down. I think she's something like 19. I'm not sure. They live in sort of an Amish community. Not exactly Amish. It's a different sect. They live simply, but I don't think they're afraid of using machinery or anything like that. I believe that they do. Conrad is her sort of friend that she grew up with. Alan Finley, he is a salesman that comes in, and I should also say salesman, that comes into the shop that Gretchen works in. So she sort of works in something like, I don't know, a mercantile, I guess you would say. And then she has a brother named Stephen. Stephen is younger. I didn't find out till later how old he was. Super frustrating. I just have to say that it took chapters and chapters and chapters to find out he was like 10. So I just had to guess at his age and by his like actions. The last one's major characters, Mina, which is her best friend, although she's in her like 40s. And then there's Zerka, who is a gypsy. And there's also Loiko, which is the main gypsy. So Zerka's in a little bit, but more Loiko. That's it. And then there's a little girl called Lala. Yeah, I think it's Lala. Okay, so those are the characters. The scene is set. She works in a mercantile. She lives in a town called Amana. I believe this is part of the series The Daughters of Amana, and I think there's another series based on Amana as well. I think this might be the second book in this series. I'll have to check. Yes, this is the second in a 3-book series, The Daughters of Amana. Immediately there were some info dumps, like within chapter 1. Page 14, Gretchen is with Conrad, and he lifts her chin with his fingers, which I feel is way overdone. Far too many men in books lift women's chins with their fingers, and I've yet to have my husband do that in like probably 15 years of marriage. So I don't know what that's about. And I'm pretty sure he didn't do it when we were dating, that I can remember. I don't even think I had a boyfriend that did that, so nope. Anywho, he lifts her chin with his fingers and he says, what is this with apologies? We have known each other for 22 years. We look after each other, ja? They also say gut a lot because they sort of have a German accent, although sometimes they forget to say gut and they say good, and I think that's a typo. I circled all the typos and then I just stopped. That was silly. I don't count off for typos. Next it says, she replies, but we haven't really known each other for 22 years. I think you can only count from the time we reached the age of 4. Before that, I remember nothing. That's all for the reader. Like, I feel like that could have been in the narrative. People don't talk to each other that way. The bigger info dump is a little bit more unique in the way she delivers it. She's in the mercantile, and these people come in, outsiders. She's so tired of everyone asking her questions, and so instead of waiting for the same questions every single time, she's prepared this little information dump that she gives them. But I feel like it's not just for the people visiting the mercantile, that it's actually a way of introducing the reader to the same information, because most of the book takes place in the mercantile, so you don't see a lot of the town. She does leave. She does plenty of running hither and thither because of reasons, but predominantly the most of the story seems to take place in the mercantile, and so it's the easiest way to give you an overview. Still felt like an info dump to me. Now, as for the likability of the characters, Gretchen took me a while, to tell you the truth, because she likes to journal, and so she keeps this journal under, but she wants to keep it a secret for whatever reason, and so she keeps it underneath the counter, so when she's not doing work, she pulls out her journal and writes, or when she should be doing work, she pulls out her journal and writes, which that was the frustrating part for me, because she keeps sort of having that attitude of, oh, my dad is always on me about all this work I have to do. He doesn't, he thinks I'm not doing anything. But as you sort of go along with Gretchen and her daily tasks, like, she's not doing anything. And so that was a little frustrating, I felt, unless you're just trying to, without judgment, give the indication that she is the age she is, and like everybody sort of that age, you have this mentality that the world's against you and nobody understands. That's fine. It just took me a little bit longer to like her. Also, it seemed that everybody in the book liked her, though, especially men. So Conrad is her friend who likes her, but that doesn't come out till like page 56, where he mentions that Conrad mentions that this Alan person is competition. Up until page 56, he's not really been clear about his feelings toward her. Or does Gretchen know he likes her? Because her responses to this are like nothing. So he'll say, so he's competition, and she barely gives a response. I guess it indicates that she knows that Conrad has feelings for her and she's not surprised by it, but us as a reader don't know that, so I was surprised by it. But I do have to take into account that this is the second book. When I buy books at, used books at bookstores, sometimes I don't have the first book, and sometimes if they can be read alone, I'll just read them. So I have to give the benefit of the doubt that maybe they were characters mentioned in the first book. But let's talk about Alan. Alan was an interesting character because he wasn't what he seemed. I'll just say that because I don't want to spoil the ending. He wasn't what he seemed, but he wasn't entirely dishonest either. His character was kind of like admirably deceptive, but not. You expect someone who's deceptive to maybe take advantage in every way, but he didn't. In some ways, he was honest. I don't know. I could tell you more, but I really think you should read this book, and so I don't really want to spoil it. The other guy is this Loiko person. Now, he's a gypsy. In one of the reviews, the reviewer said they did not like the gypsies being there or something like that. Like there was too many threads or storylines in this book. To me, the book started with the gypsies. I love them. The story was kind of blah before that, but just getting back to Loiko, he flirts with Gretchen quite a bit. And her grandmother flirts back with him. I forgot to mention Oma. She's the grandmother, and she suffers from like dementia big time. I don't know if it's full on Alzheimer's, but it's dementia. She keeps going back to her childhood, thinking she's a young woman, and every good-looking man is her husband. So she goes around like grabbing hold of their arm and calling them her pretty boy, and so she's making all these awkward situations, and there's a whole thread that follows sort of the grandma and kind of a plot line for the grandma. But anyway, all I have to say about the men is, so there's Loiko, there's Alan, there's Conrad. Why do they like her? They don't, I don't feel like Judith gives a very good reason why Gretchen is that likable. Is she gorgeous? Like, I don't recall her being set up as overly attractive. I'm sure they thought she was pretty, and I'm sure they mentioned that, but it just seemed like every man who walked in was immediately felt the need to flirt with her. So, and as me as a reader, not having a huge attachment to her, I kept asking myself, like, why? And even her personality wasn't super pleasant. She was standoffish. I mean, sort of like what you expect an Amish. I know she's not Amish, but you know, you're not supposed to be overtly flirtatious. You're supposed to be modest, which we should be as Christians in general. Let me just throw that out there. But she was a little withdrawn, and so what about this withdrawn personality? What was so enticing? And maybe it was just like the hard to get aspect. So I don't know. On page 89 was my first compliment. I believe this came after chapter 5. I wrote a note to myself on page 90, I like the gypsies in the story. Anything else I wrote in the margins was mostly positive from here on out. There was little things, but not even really worth mentioning. There were quite a few themes, and there was the salesman, who was not as he appeared, the gypsies and their questionable behavior. There's Oma and the subject of a retirement home and what's going to happen to her. There's the brother who keeps getting into trouble, and how's that going to play into the book. There's this little girl named Lala. She's a mystery. Does she really belong to the gypsies, or doesn't she? Why is she with the gypsies? So there's that little interesting thing. There's a fire. Gretchen does something, well, kind of connected with the salesman that becomes an embarrassment to the whole community, or so she thinks. And then there's the subject of her love interest. Who's it going to be? The salesman is smooth and says things that she wants to hear. The gypsy offers adventure. And then there's Conrad, who's sort of portrayed initially as overly jealous. But I have to say that he has a really neat little character arc himself, because even though he's of the jealous sort, he doesn't take it out on her. He sort of seems to understand, and not in that perfect man always understands sort of way. It's just Judith Miller doesn't put it in those situations. Do you see this? This means I'm a busy mom. I did this for a couple of days. It's already starting to chip. I did this one at a coffee shop, then realized the smell would bug everybody, and then I haven't finished. Sorry. I just noticed behind my arms. So, but not in that weird way where a man is just always understanding no matter what. He genuinely just doesn't blow things out of proportion, and he allows Gretchen to explain her situation. And I just want to go on this thing of explaining her situations and explaining in general. She sort of digs herself into holes, like on more than one occasion. To me, even though Gretchen was somewhat dislikable in the beginning, she always fessed up to what she'd done. She didn't hide it, and she told the truth. It felt more realistic, actually, oddly enough, and I really enjoyed that about this character, and I felt like it redeemed her in my eyes to have that quality attached to her. As a whole, I actually really did like this book, and I would recommend it. If you're not a picky reader, chapters 1 through 5 are not gonna bug you. If you're nitpicky and you tend to pull out things that don't quite make sense, or you don't feel are my cat just got scared, and you tend to pull out little things that don't quite seem true to life, then maybe that'll bother you. But every time I put the book down, even before chapter 5, I wanted to pick it up again, which is a really good sign. And I think it's a good example of how somebody should handle their problems. Like, we don't always fess up to things that we do, but I think we should. I think getting it over with and handling the consequences is always better than to be caught in a lie or being deceptive. And I enjoyed that so much about this book that I would definitely recommend it. I don't know if I already mentioned this, but some reviewers did not like how many sort of storylines were going on in this book, but I felt that it gave this story a lot of depth where otherwise I might have been bored. So I praise her for that. I thought it was fun. I thought all the different strands to the story, I mean, it's life, and so that felt very realistic as well. There's things that were attached to the store that were going on that were either stressors or exciting for her. There were things with the men, so you have the social, your sort of social life aspect, and that could be going on. But then you have family issues as well. I forgot to mention her mother died, so that was partly that's it. The book opens up that way, and so her relationship with her dad has been strained, and so there's that familial issue, as well as her relationship with her grandmother and the dementia that's going on. And then you have the gypsies coming in. It's sort of a community issue to worry about these gypsies being in the town and what that means for the town. It's not just her alone. So I thought it was fun. So I hope you enjoy this book. I enjoyed this book. I nitpicked this book, but I would read the first and the third. I should really learn to read in order. But anyway, I would read the first and the third. I thought it was good. And if you're wondering if all of Judith Miller's books take on this sort of Amish quality, I clicked on another book she has called To Love and Cherish, and it was completely different. Now, that book in that series was co-authored by Tracie Peterson. And when I looked, there was more than one series that Judith Miller did with Tracie Peterson. I read one book by Tracie Peterson. I believe it was Under the Midnight Sun. But she co-authored that book with Ms. Woodhouse. Can't remember her first name. I didn't like that book. I didn't finish it. But I don't know if that was due to Tracie Peterson's writing or Ms. Woodhouse's contribution. So, and I say contribution because her name was smaller under Tracie Peterson. So I don't really know. I don't know which of their writing styles was what I didn't like about the book. So I don't know. It might be interesting, actually an interesting experiment for me to read a book written by Ms. Miller and Ms. Peterson to see if I liked it. As far as the book by Tracie Peterson that I reviewed, you'll have to go look it up. I'll put it in the link below and you can see if you agree or disagree. I mean, people have different opinions, so you can see mine. Anyway, thanks you guys for watching, and I hope you get this book and really enjoy it. Leave a comment, let me know what you thought. Go to Tracie Peterson review if you've read Under the Midnight Sun or are thinking about it. Go leave a comment over there and let me know your thoughts. Agree to disagree, that's totally fine with me. I don't mind at all. Again, if you haven't read my series, I encourage you to. It's called The Walk With Me Saga. You can look it up on Amazon by my name, Vanessa with an E. And Knisley, you'll just have to see how to spell it. It's unique. It's in bad need of reviews, you guys. What reviews I have are good, but I don't market. This is my marketing. So check it out. Not only leave me a comment here, but go leave me a review. Read my book and leave me a review, and you can give me your opinion. So thanks everyone for your help and hopefully your support. You guys have a great day.